Before the official campaign period, I was covering Mar Rojas primarily. Until when our bosses started hearing that Duterte may really join the presidential race, I was told to prepare myself to possibly move to a different subject. There was one specific reporter I got in touch with, and that's our stinger from Davao City, because I know for a fact that they're close. He's covered the mayor for such a long time, and if there's any reporter I would trust to give me reliable information about Duterte, it would be him. And back then, parang he was also uncertain, really. He would hear, just like me, stories that yes, he's really firm on running, but then on certain days, hindi rin pala sure. So parang, I guess from that you get a sense na no one really knew what he wanted to do, what his plan was.
I'm not interested in the presidency. It does not appeal to me at all.
I have yet to talk to the entire family in one occasion para konsultahon sila.
Hindi ako tatakbo ng presidente. Wala akong ambisyon maging presidente.
Nagkaroon na ng so-called Duterte serye, diba? It was such a long stretch. There was such big anticipation. Siguro a mix really of yung curiosity, this new character coming in, na parang who's this guy possibly joining this presidential race. So parang it dragged on for so long, literally until the last minute of the filing nung deadline. Parang everyone were tuned into their TV sets, waiting to see if he was gonna arrive there. There were even rumors na meron na siyang, nakita na daw siya nagland yung chopper niya, people taking selfies of him in the airport. I guess, because of that whole anticipation, the build-up, when he all of a sudden released this COC for mayor, I'd say maraming na-disappoint in that sense, because I guess many people at that time were already hoping that he would finally put an end to yung guessing game na yun. Hindi nawala yung hope ng tao, even if dumating na yung deadline. Because they knew, or many people knew, that the next option was possible substitution.
PDP Laban's Martin Dino withdraws from the presidential race. The party has named Rodrigo Duterte as his substitute.
It has to be my decision. That PDP's decision is their own. I must tanaw ko sa langit kung angay bagyo kong mapresidente.
When Martin Dino withdrew, I guess it inevitably would raise people's hopes again that he could still run after all. He would always say na nung nakita niya yung final list of candidates, walang katanggap-tanggap para sa kanya doon. So I guess he felt the need to actually do something about it.
I'm here to withdraw my COC as mayor of Davao City.
And I guess many people's wishes came true.
Yes. Yes, that's it, on the table. It's on the table. It's a matter, I have decided.
When you walk the streets of Davao, parang yung sense of pride talaga nila is there because many of the houses have posters on them. Many establishments, businesses, kahit saan kanto ka talaga makita. Yung parang kitang-kita mo na they're so proud of this mayor. Karamihan sa kanila hindi naman talaga nami-meet pa si mayor siguro, nakakausap ng one-on-one. Pero you'll be surprised with how they talk. It's really as if they know this guy very well. It somewhat unites them. You see their unity when they talk about their mayor, their longtime mayor. And that they're just confident that he'll do the same thing for the country if he wins. His whole political life has always been in Davao. But then when we get to the provinces, or even here in Metro Manila, parang magugulat ka that saan nanggaling tong lahat ng taon to. And you see them, they're so passionate, lalapitan talaga, they really have that sense of siguro curiosity about who this guy is, offering something, this change that I guess many people were wanting to see. Na-surprise ako in that sense because siguro it's not really his supporters, but people really curious about this guy. Kasi at the forefront na makikita mo naman sa kanya pa rin yung character niya di ba? Maloko, mapagmura. Siguro that's among the reasons din bakit dumudumog yung tao to see for themselves who this person is, and then maybe eventually, hopefully, get to know him more in depth.
The presidential and vice presidential races are heating up weeks before the elections. The latest Pulse Asia survey shows Duterte with a clear lead in the race to Malacanang. Duterte overtakes Poe for first place with a 5 percentage point lead.
Parang antagal niya bago nag-sink in sa akin that this guy really is or could really win this thing. Kasi he started out so low, di ba? Ranked 4th. And then back then, ang tunog or the popular one was Grace Poe. So when he started climbing the surveys, parang really? Is this happening talaga? Pero siguro he just didn't mind it because he would always say na sa tinagal-tagal daw niya na politiko sa dami ng eleksyon na sinalihan niya. He never really relies on those. Siguro na feel ko lang na talagang seryoso na to when more reporters started covering him kasi we started from a really small group of reporters lang. Parang before we knew it, wow, parang dami ng biglang interesado dito, including foreign media.
Presidente mag 5 minutes.
Towards media, he's so accommodating. Kaya na-surprise ako when he suddenly had this whole thing about boycotting us. Kasi back then, even if he had tight security, siya pa yung makikipaghatakan sa amin. Hahatakin niya kami in the middle of that big ambush interview crowd na sobrang siksikan. Pag nakikita niya na kaming naiipit, siya pa yung hahatak sa amin para makalapit na sa kanya. Aawayin niya pa yung security niya na huwag kaming haharangin. So he was that accommodating. Tapos binibiro niya pa nga ako lagi dahil lagi akong naiipit daw dahil sa liit ko. Kaya lagi niya daw akong nahahatak na lang bago pa siguro ako madurog dun sa security niya.
Tapos, hindi pa ako, so I'm just...
As reporters, minsan pag late yung subject, it affects our entire day because obviously you have deadlines to meet. But you'll be surprised because it's the total opposite for his supporters. I remember he would come in 6 hours late for some sorties. Pero buong-buo pa rin yung crowd. And then sometimes, you try to do stories maybe and ask around because you would assume that people are annoyed waiting for him. Pero magugulat kayong sasagot pa nila sa'yo, hindi, okay lang, baka naman kasi may pinuntahan siyang iba. Alam mo naman, traffic dito sa Metro Manila talagang matindi. So parang they would even defend him. And if you ask them, maliban dun sa 6 hours from call time, they were there already hours prior pa. So, sobrang tagal talaga na lang naghihintay doon. And they would say that it's really because they wanna see the guy. As simple as that. He is very well aware of his social media following. Kasi minsan kinakausap niya sila through reporters na anong daw magagawa niya. He can control everyone. And I know that he's updated by his staff about what's being said to him online. And it would be crazy for him not to know about what how his social media presence is because his campaign relied heavily on social media.
Will you be giving them a deadline?
Nagpapansin ka talaga sa ating
Sir, good evening.
It's obviously not acceptable for public officials to do. I have to admit, I've seen him do similar antics. Parang there's a part of me that's gotten used to his ways. It takes extra effort to really remind myself also that, hey, doesn't mean that you see this guy do this all the time, that it's something you should accept. But then, it's really difficult to do also. Sometimes you forget. Ang hirap din kasi because you get drawn into his character. You have to be conscious all the time to balance out your perception of him. He's exactly the same on and off cam. And I think personally that's a good thing. But then, now that I think about it, hindi siya masyado mapagmura off-cam. Actually, mabait nga siya off-cam. He's very fatherly sa aming reporters, especially those na suki na niya, yung mga kilala na niya. Nag-video kay kami one time. He goes to this bar, his favorite bar in Davao after a long day. Kahit paanong oras siya matapos nun, minsan pupuntahan pa rin niya kahit mga 2 a.m., 3 a.m. And I remember, he will not let us go home until isa lahat kami kumanta ng kanta with him. Ang problema doon, so it was my turn, I was looking at his playlist. Wala akong alam dun sa mga kanta niya kasi lahat mga generation niya. Although, ang kapal-kapal nung songbook na alam nung pianista, pupunta ako dun sa ibang pages. No, you pick only from this. So, kunyari, yung turn ko, ang tagal ko nun dahil wala talaga akong alam na kanta niya.
Sir, sino maging executive secretary?
Wala pa. I don't know. Si Ina siguro.
Isang time na may nagtanong sa kanya, Sir, sino yung magiging executive secretary mo na post siya? Si Ina na lang siguro para ko, talaga tong si Mayor. Yung parang, again, hindi niya naiisip na sometimes maybe he should avoid those. He does that all the time with the people I guess he's comfortable with. He blurts out all these jokes in the middle of serious conversations. So parang, ito talaga si Mayor, magugulat ka na lang na parang binabagit ka pala niya. He's really playful.
We're here outside the house of Mayor Duterte. From here, the house really just looks ordinary. It's far from the extravagant houses we usually see from other politicians. Now, let's go inside.
My initial reaction when I saw the house was, wow, really? Yung parang talagang kung ano lang makita mo sa bahay din ng kapitbahay mo. Magulo pa, daming gamit, nakapile up kung saan-saan. The family towards us, how the mayor is din. But I do remember si Hanel kinakwento niya na very iyakin si mayor. So it's opposite what we know him to be, I guess. This was at one point in the campaign when his kids were already being dragged into all these allegations against him. And mahirap sa kanya kapag affected yung family niya because pag naiisip niya yung anak niya, he sees them as little boys and girls pa rin. I guess that shows his sentimental side, fatherly, sentimental side.
He didn't want his father to run for president. But when Rodrigo Duterte did, Sebastian or Baste responded as what any supportive child would do.
I'm having a hard time because before all of this, it's the total opposite of my life.
Our story on Baste Duterte got one of the biggest attention throughout the campaign. I guess just like his dad, there was a big sense of interest and curiosity about this guy who looked far from what many people would think of a presidential son to be. So fortunately, nakakuha ako, nagulat din nga ako dahil I heard he's very distant sa reporters. We were out in Davao City having a few drinks after work. And then he was there at the bar, we were introduced. Some reporters actually got him there already. Parang I thought it would be better if we set a different date for our interview. Nagulat ako that he agreed right away. He asked that we move venues for interview and they took us to their old house, family house in Davao City, in Matina. Si Inday Sara, medyo mahirap siyang hagilapin. I hear from City Hall people that medyo challenging talaga to get her to agree to an interview with you. Most of the time, we just get her during yung election day, na obviously lalabas siya para bumoto. Pero otherwise, really, ang hirap niya kunin. So, sana magpa-interview rin siya sa atin. Paolo also, just like his sister, I think it runs in the family that, at least among the siblings, that they're just really not very into media interviews. Medyo yun yung isa sa challenging parts of covering the mayor, getting his children on camera. Makikita mo yung lambing niya, I guess, especially doon kay Veronica. You'd always see the daughter going up to his dad, bubulungan kapag masyado na matagal yung pagsalita ni Mayor na parang, Dad, uwi na tayo, tagal mo na nagsasalita, hindi pa kumakain yung mga tao. And then, si Mayor, never ko siya nakita na annoy or yung parang nakulitan sa anak niya, even if she would do it all the time. And ina-admit naman ni Mayor na kahinaan din niya talaga yung anak niyang, lalo na babae. I guess that's a glimpse of the kind of father that he is. Beyond his toughness, posible na ganun din siya ka lambot, or his soft side is just as big.
It's not just his swearing that sometimes gets him into trouble. His jokes and comments have also led to not-so-accurate reports. Media report on what he says, only to find out later that he wasn't serious.
One challenge din sa pag-cover kay Mayor is making sure that you don't sound biased, because it's really difficult to do, especially when you try to describe the crowd you see in his sorties. It's difficult to report that in a way because, some people feeling ko might say na, oy, grabe naman, napaka-drama nito, napaka-biased kay Mayor Duterte. Kahit campaign pa, there was already this sentiment among his social media following that some media entities are biased. Supporters are so aggressive, they will tell you if they see a camera, no matter what TV station you're from. Nagko-cover ka dito, siguro naman ilalabas mo yan, eh. O baka pupunta-punta ka dito, hindi mo yan i-ere. They're that aggressive. Tapos, makikita mo rin dun how they treat some networks that feeling mo endanger yung physical beings namin dun sa sorties. That's how aggressive they are. I guess it's sad because one consequence of his statements would be having people doubt the media, and as reporters, we have nothing but our credibility and the perception that we should be impartial at all times. Now, if we have a president saying that some reporters are corrupt, it might affect everyone already. But the sad part is some people might take it generally and assume that all reports, let's say, against the president, biased kami, kaya na mag-report. So, I guess it's, a challenge for reporters today to be extra careful and maybe think back on how we should be reporting. Maybe we should go back to the basics.
Duterte is still leading the race. He is ranked #1.
I hereby proclaim Rodrigo Roa Duterte as the duly elected president.
Let us begin the healing now.
Sabi nila yung a vote for Duterte is a protest vote. What made him win? There's a possible strategy, and on top of that, I think it's his clear messaging. He had a very clear message for change. It was consistent throughout the campaign. It was clear he was anti-drugs, anti-crime, anti-corruption. He stuck to those, and I guess it resonated with 60 million people who apparently are looking for that. I'm somewhat convinced that he's gonna try to do what he said he's gonna do. It's a matter of whether or not he will successfully do it. Many people see him as, you're not your usual politician. Yung parang masisense mo that yung sense of hope ng people, marami talagang umaasa na gawin niya yung sinasabi niya. He's worth chasing, I know, because a lot of people are interested in his story. We saw that during the campaign. Clearly, meron talagang interest sa kanya. And of course, what we will always deliver is what people also would want to hear or know about. Now that he's president, many expect him to change his ways to give respect to the office that he now holds. I guess many people really are waiting for that, kung ano talaga siyang magiging once he's officially assumed his post. If I do end up covering him for the next 6 years, I'd use it to my advantage that I was there since day one. Pero I guess I'd be in a better position to actually compare and see yung mga sinasabi niya noon, and then kung ano yung na-deliver niya after 6 years, I'd always be willing to point that out for the people. 16 million people voted for him. It's not the majority, but he won. So we have to just see what he's gonna do. Many people definitely asked for it. He won the presidency. So it's the office of the president, and no matter who's there, we should still give a certain level of respect and see, I guess, what's gonna happen.
God bless our country, the Philippines. And may God bless the Filipino people.